Yo! So in today's video I'm going to be building and decorating an entire park in a day. Yes, you heard me right, in a day. And this is going to be a series where in each video, as you'll probably guess, I'll build a part a day until I have a level fully built. So, I already got the song picked out. It's Go Live by LG Music, the same person that made the soundtrack for Labyrinth. And yeah, I'll first make the gameplay for the first part and then I'll decorate it. So, let's do it. Okay, to start off things well, I forgot to record like the first 30 seconds of the build time, but as you can see I just made like a ship gameplay that looks kinda tight, but it actually isn't. So yeah, I'll just continue like doing this until I have something going on, because right now it just plays kinda like whatever. So this first part is going to be separated into the ship section and the UFO section, and as you can see I finished the ship one, and yeah, I just continue making the same type of gameplay until I have like something interesting. I think it fits the ambient tone of the music. Okay, now I need to make the UFO section, and that's where the music actually gets interesting, and I actually need to do God forbid sync gameplay. Oh, forget about that notification. So you can hear the song has like this very big and strong synth basis, and I think that's going to be a very easy way to make some guided click gameplay with the UFO, you know, because that's like what big boy creators do nowadays. They dread the possibility of like players making their own decisions, I guess. Just kidding, it's just that it's easier to make gameplay like this. So I got the whole gameplay set up, and I think it's great. I mean, it's not great, but like I have a single day to make all this, so it's good enough. Okay, so here's the entire part being played out, and get familiar to it because I won't be like playing it again for like a hot minute. Okay, I promise I'll make this this empty space full, not now, later. And yeah, here's the transition for the next part. Okay, start time. I actually missed like the first minute of me decorating the saw deco, but fortunately you're not missing anything because I fumbled this for the first time. But I know I only have like a single day to make all of the decoration. I can't be fumbling over ideas. Like, I just need to do stuff until it looks good. But as you can see, I kind of lost the plot for the first design by making this teeth mouth thing that wraps around the saw. That okay, it's a neat idea, but it just didn't fit the vibe, you know. But I promise I saved it. Oh my god, this makes no sense. So I had the idea to make this saw deco another part of the human body that is also a hole and also white. And of course I'm talking about the eye. So I used those circle outlines objects to make the closed eye. Even added a little drop shadow there. And to really make it look like an eye, I use those tiny triangle objects to make the eyelids. And the difference between this design from the teeth mouth thing is that this one actually looks good, and it also looks like an eye, like it's supposed to. And after some finishing touches, I think it looks great. And now my next step is my favorite one, that is obviously copy and paste. So yeah, after some grueling hard work, I got all of the eye saws copy and pasted. And yeah, right now it looks pretty repetitive and kind of lame, but I have a very good idea of how I'm going to improve this. So stick with me for this because it gets kind of complex, but I first only select the saws object, and then I select area parent on the object options. So if an area trigger affects that object, it will also affect all of the linked objects with it. So now I want to add an area move trigger, and only with the bottom saws with the ID 1. I want to make so when they get far away from the left side of the screen, they move 100 blocks down and a single block to the right. And just like that, it does not work perfectly. Okay, Okay, I forgot to add a offset. Okay, now it should be working perfectly. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it works exactly how I wanted it to. I think the movements look kinda iffy. I don't know. I think I'll change the easing to like exponential out. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. So I'll just do the same thing for the top layer and let's see how it looks. Okay, yeah, it already looks like much more alive. I think this was a good addition. However, the saws, in my opinion, they do look very separated together. So what I'm thinking is that in this like empty space between them, I'll add like some sort of like glow chain or something to connect them together so they kind of like make more contextual sense. So yeah, I decided that I'll use like this glow piece with a yellow blending layer, maybe add something else to add a little bit more texture. Yeah, I think this gonna work together. I'll use this and maybe change the sizes a little bit to add more variation, and so yeah, I'll just spin them between the sauce. So what I'm thinking is that I'll add like an area tint trigger that will like randomly change the object's color to white, so they kind of look like they're shining, kind of like diamonds, you know. So let's see if it looks good, and yeah, it looks fire. Okay, the next step, what I'm thinking is that I'll add some kind of like ground spike, ground deco. Actually, I'm thinking I'll just add like some spikes with glow. If I like kind of raise them a little bit from the ground, it looks pretty cool. So if I just like place them around like naturally, I think that will be like a good start to the ground deco. You know, it kind of doesn't look too crowded but doesn't look too empty in my opinion. Now if I just add a little bit of glow to make it pop, place them around. Now if I add some glow to the ground that is bright, I think that would be pretty cool, because it will also like separate the ground from the background, so kind of goes from like the ground that is bright to the background that it's darker, you know, it just transitions everything between pretty well. So I'll just place them around everywhere that doesn't have any structures, and let's see. Okay, after doing some color adjustments, I think this looks pretty fucking good. I think now you guys understand what I mean by separating the ground from the background. Brightness variation also makes the saws look more in place. So yeah, I think this was a pretty good addition. Also, don't worry about the UFO part. I just want to get things down first, and then I'll head to the rest of the level. Just that the UFO, I have a different idea for the decoration. Okay, so I had to take a little break, but now I'm back and with more energy to finally like make this thing look a little bit more finished. So I actually want to do something with this background because I like don't want to stare at the default background for much longer. And as you can see, I changed the background for a plain background since I can do more customization with it. And my main idea is to add like a big glow rod at the center of the background that is darker than the actual background. So I'll make the glow rod bigger and extend it till it like fills the entire screen, so it doesn't like cut off. Then I'll put it at the start of the level and give it an ID, and then I'll put it on a new color, make it copy the color of the background and make it slightly darker. And then I'll put a advanced follow trigger, make it follow only the player and make it only follow the x-axis, that is the horizontal axis. And as you can see, the glow is actually following the player even though it does cut off, so I need to actually extend it a little bit further, and there we go, now it covers the entire screen. Okay, since the background looks very plain, I think I'll add like a bunch of glow objects that randomly change sizes with the area scale trigger. Yes, I'm using another area trigger. If you don't like it, I don't know, like and subscribe. Just kidding, don't. Anyways, as you probably guess, I assigned them a 99D, then I spam them around the level. So for the area scale trigger, I made so whenever they get close to the camera, the random Y and X scale will just go crazy. And then after make the length 100, they will actually look kind of weird. Okay, to make it look a little bit more cool, I'll make the X value shorter, and yeah, I think it looks exactly how I want it to look. It kind of gives it a little bit more texture. It's not just a straight glow line. So I'll add another group ID and make a move trigger that moves infinitely with -1 move time, and make it so it follows the camera on the x-axis, but like only like half of the speed. And as you can see, it looks like it's further away from the screen, but I do think I kind of exaggerated with the follow speed. Yeah, okay, this looks much better. I think it looked too open, and I want this first part to look closed in. By the way, I'm really betting here that the YouTube video compression doesn't like erase this effect from the level, because I think it looks like really cool even though it's kinda faint in the background. So I think it's finally time for us to do these structures and remove this ugly white outline box. So I'm gonna go into a new layer, and so just so I can get like my main vision across. My idea for this block design is that I'll have like these metal tubes, kind of like ventilation tubes running across the outlines. So actually I'll be removing this, and I'll use like the flat color object because I want to make my own tile set. So I want this structure to be a little bit darker than the background. I'm gonna change the layer so it doesn't match with the background. Then I'll add like some shading just so it has a little bit more detail. After that, I want to copy and paste the centerpiece, and I'll use that so I can make the connectors of each tile. So after scaling it, adding a drop shadow and a little bit of shading, I end up with a really good tile set that I can like copy and paste around, and doesn't look that bad. So here I tried to just like wrap the tubes around, but it ended up looking kind of weird. So I decided to actually make another version of the tube that is like just extended, and I'll only put it at the top of the structure. And before I actually start to copy and paste this design on the other structures, I want to do like the inner part of it, because right now it's empty. So my idea is to add like a bright decoration with the same color as the other bright details. So I'll add just a plain object with the blending color, put a gradient glow. And now for the most fun and kinda confusing part for the video, I'll add a particle trigger. So if it's your first time seeing this trigger, you might be like very confused. And I also was, because there's like a lot of buttons and sliders. So basically these are all properties of the particle trigger that you can like change so it makes the particles move different or behave different. And after some adjustments with a lot of the properties, I finally landed on this like rising bubble type of particle that really make this glow piece of the structure look kind of like liquid, like blood. I don't know, it looks cool. And after that I added like an ambient glow that is a really easy way to make glow deco fit in the rest of the level. So after doing all that, I just need to start copy and pasting everything around. Okay, just so you don't call me lazy, I actually did a few variations of the structures. I made a smaller version and a larger version. So yeah, I'm not lazy. It just happens that I needed to copy paste it a bunch of times. So yeah, this is how it's looking like, and it already looks like much more finished than before. It's kind of like looking like a real level. What the hell? Okay, I do really like these structures. However, I do think their color meshes a lot with the background, so I think I'll add like a shadow glow in each structure just so it kind of stands out a little more from the background. And yeah, it already helps a lot even though it's not that noticeable. And on this note of adding kind of like subtle things that change a lot, I actually want to add like a particle trigger, actually 2 particle triggers on each ground, the bottom one and the top one, that kind of like gives it a little bit more motion to the level. So this particle, I actually want to use the triangle object, and I'm kinda inspiring myself from the particles, oh my god, and I'm actually using as inspiration the particles in Just Shapes and Beats, if you know, you know. And yeah, in this particle I'm going to use something more fancy. I'm going to use friction. That makes so the more the particles move, their speed gets weaker, so it kind of gives a smooth fading out. So yeah, after some adjustments, it looks like this. I really like how it looks. And as you can see, I also made it follow the player so it never gets off screen. Also, with an alpha trigger, I also made the particles invisible at the start, and then I made it fade in, just so the start doesn't look that weird with all the particles already being shown. So while playing the level, I noticed that the center part of the level always looked too empty. But I have an idea. See, there's this mod called Alien that basically makes so you can draw anything in the editor. But the problem is that it uses a lot of objects. However, I think I can turn that into an advantage. And of course, I'm talking about using area triggers. Yes, I did not use them enough. So with the Alien mod, I drew one smooth line and then I copy and pasted it to mirror it. And now I have this like really smooth sine wave. So after changing its color, for the area scalage, I wanted to make so whenever they get close to the player, their Y scale would increase. Yo, what? Yo, why is it disappearing? Yo, okay, that actually looks really cool. Oh, okay, now I get what's going on. So, if you don't know what's going on, you see the area scale trigger works in a very mysterious way. Basically, when you don't change anything on the area scale trigger, the zeros on the Y and X value basically mean nothing, so any object affected to it will stay the same. However, if you do any modification to any of these values, the other zero value will suddenly mean 0, so the object will just shrink to 0. This is something that not most creators know, I think, so that's why I accidentally created that shrinking effect. It was purely accidental, but it looked kinda cool. So that gave me the idea to return to 0. Sorry, to go beyond 0. More exactly, -2. And that makes this really cool effect where the objects shrink and then grow back. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this effect. So it's finally time to address the elephant in the room.
Elephant green screen effect.
What about the UFO part? Okay, to address the first thing, there you go, with a snap I copy and pasted everything. Well, not exactly everything. I actually intentionally left out the saws because I have a pretty cool idea to do with them. See, on the first part the saws were eyes. So in the second part we're going to open them. So above the level where it's empty, I'm going to copy a bunch of the saws design. And that's because I'm going to do a frame by frame animation of the eye opening. And I'm going to do that using the toggle triggers, only toggling on the frame that I want to be active. So it's going to go to the frame 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So I won't bore you with the details because this was by far the most messy part of building, but basically I started by making the last frame of the animation, that is going to be the eye fully opened, and then I started doing the in-between frames of it actually opening. And this took a lot of like copy and pasting and warping and adding like some new details here and there. But ultimately I ended up with this result and I'm pretty happy with it. It's not perfect, but for like the time that I had, this is great. So I made every frame have a different item ID, then I Frankenstein them together into only one saw. Yeah, and then I took this amalgamation and started to copy and pasting it around the area where the UFO transition is going to be visible. But before I actually did all that, I set up the toggle triggers that will make the frame by frame animation, and this is how it's going to look like. Now that I did that, I can finally start to actually copy and paste every single animated eye around. And like, if this looks really freaky with all like the animated eyes put together, I really like it. But now shit is actually getting serious, and this level is actually looking kinda finished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do more filling up space work. First I'm going to be copy and pasting those smooth lines around, and then my next idea is that I'm going to do portal and orb deco, and then click pattern deco on the UFO. So firstly I tried to do something with those solid decoration objects, and it ended up looking like shit, so I just scrapped it. Then I thought, was something better than something that looked like shit? Of course, something that doesn't look like anything at all. So I just added a like pulsing circle object with some glow behind and called it a day, because I think even though it's simple, it works, it fills space. And just to say I didn't do anything with it, I of course added an area move trigger. Duh. And just because I didn't have that much time, I actually also added a time warp trigger, because the level was actually kinda unsynced and I didn't have time to fix that. Okay, now this is how the level is actually looking. It's way more full than before. However, I do think there are two main components of this level that are missing. The first one being obviously pulses, but the second one being parallax. You see, parallax when you have one or multiple layers that are moving at a different speed than others, giving the illusion that one is further away from the other. That's what I did with the area scale background effect. But now I want to actually add some structures in the background that have a parallax. So once again I'm in a new layer and with another plain block. And with them I'm going to make some random sized structures, and in the side of those structures I'm going to add slopes just so they make these structures look kinda dynamic. Now I'm going to copy and paste them, make a few different forms of these structures, copy and paste them again, and then you'll never guess what I'll do next. I'll copy and paste again, but then I'll flip over them to make these structures go on the top floor. Top floor, I guess it's roof. Huh, I never thought about that. Okay, I won't explain in detail everything that I did here, because it's basically a combination of everything that I did on this entire video to get to this point. But basically I added an area move trigger, added move parallaxes, and copy and pasted the structures again. And after doing all that, I actually ended up with a really sick parallax effect, and I'm super proud of it. I personally think that the level looks already really good to be made in one day, but I still need to do one unfinished business. Pulses. Like, I don't know, I already made the decoration, why do you want me to change the colors? Okay, although I don't like making pulses, and I never will, I actually understand why people do them and why it's needed. It actually adds a lot of life without doing much. But for me, I kinda like never got the hang of it. I got the hang of a lot of things in the editor, but pulses is like not my strong suit. Since I don't know how to make pulses, I also don't know much about commentating on them. But basically on the first half of the part I focused on the soft synth, and I didn't do much like strong pulses. But on the second half I focused on the big synth bass, and I did a lot of strong pulses that really changed everything up. And after doing a lot of changing and making it more synced, I can finally say this part is fully finished. So comment down below your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you think this was a waste of your time? Actually, don't comment that you guys will probably be mean. Actually, comment the name of this level, because I don't know if I'll use Gold Leaf as the name of the level. I don't know how much that name will actually carry with the color palette. Maybe I'll want to change the colors, I don't know. So yeah, I hope you liked the video and tune in for the next video. Bye.